Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Tap Often podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and with me is not BJ. I'm actually recording this after we had recorded the episode because we were setting up the podcast and we had two guests this week, and the conversation was already starting out really well, so we just hit record in the middle of it. So after this introduction, we're going to pick up in the middle of a conversation that had already been happening, and then it'll get into a more formal introduction after a few minutes. But it's going to take this time to let you all know you can hit us up on Instagram at TapOftenPodcast, or you can email us tapoftenpodcast@gmail.com. This episode we felt was really good. Conversation flowed really well, so let us know if this style of episode is something you want to see more of, and also if you would like to see more of Tony or Marcus, because we really only scratched the surface on the types of topics we can discuss with these guys. So please enjoy.
Yeah.
I had to stop on that one.
I stopped and I went back just because I felt like it was like the summertime, and I was like, I need something to kill time, because I've only seen The Wire front to end 10 times, so I was like, I need to maybe pick something else.
I rewatched it over Christmas break.
I literally have seen it 10 times.
Best show ever.
Yeah, greatest show in history. Have you seen The Wire?
No, I haven't watched that one.
My God. Do you have HBO Max?
Yes,
Get
I do.
Dude,
Look,
you got to give it. You
like
gotta
your
let
game,
it go,
it's gonna have to go on pause. You have to. That is appointment TV.
Yeah.
The Wire. Like you watch so I'm assuming just because of the open world games, I'm assuming that do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes, watch that one. Yeah.
So this is Game of Thrones, but real and in Baltimore. Like there's you wouldn't from the look of you, like, okay, well, what can be happen here? Okay, yeah, they're talking about drugs and this police, but it's way more political. You get into like these kids' lives. Michael B. Jordan, I mean,
he was
in
like
it.
12
Yeah,
when he was in it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a point, like, you have to watch
every
that.
season there's a different theme.
Right.
So like the first season, you're just kind of getting introduced to the characters, to organized crime and police, and then the next season it starts folding into the docs.
Yeah,
like,
the docs.
And
I actually liked the doc season. I thought it was pretty good.
I hated it the first time I saw it.
Me too.
When I went back and watched, I'm like, this might be the most important.
It's
one of
really,
them all.
really good.
'Cause
Yeah, it does.
It was finally where it showed the convergence of like everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next season is about like the newspaper industry, and then the kids. And
The
then
kids.
The middle
Yeah, I
school
want to say the
kids.
kids is probably one of your favorites.
Oh, it's by far my favorite.
It is beyond
Painful.
sad. Very, very sad.
Oh,
I think I didn't watch because when it came out, I was still doing, substance abuse, and I was working with HIDTA, it's high intensity drug trafficking areas. So I was doing a bunch of that. So I was like,
It's
I don't
way
want
too
to
real.
Yeah, I don't want to come home and watch what I just lived all day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
I put it
entertaining
off.
for you at that
right.
point.
It's like, it's a little too real for me, So it's like, when does my brain get to switch off? So because I think I watched like 2 episodes of it, and I was like, yeah, it's not giving me a break from reality.
Yeah,
For me.
you get a pass.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah,
don't
now
even play your game. Don't even watch it.
But you can go now because
Yeah,
you're not
now,
in that
yeah,
world
I'm
anymore.
out of it now. So
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, what are you thinking?
How about we officially start the show? Is everyone good to go?
Yep.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tap Often podcast. I'm your host always.
Nice job, Alex. We're not hitting pause and restarting that.
Jumped ahead. I'm your host, Alex. With me, as always, is my beautiful co-host, BJ. BJ, how are you?
Hi, Alexander.
Yeah, thank you. And we have a special show today. Not one guest, but 2 guests, BJ.
How many people can you fit at this table? 4, because there's no room for anybody else. So yeah, we got 2 awesome people who I'm super excited to have on the podcast, people I really respect in a lot of different ways. So I got one over here to my left is Tony Harris. And Tony, will you tell a little bit about yourself?
All right. I'm Tony Harris. I'm local personal trainer. I've been doing it for about 35 years now. Predominantly, my clients are females from the age of 12 up to probably my oldest is 80. Been doing this full time since 2000. Did it a little bit before that. Before that, I was doing substance abuse, working with at-risk youth in the county system. Went to JMU, married with a daughter, and I don't know what else you guys would want.
Was a little bit of your athletic background. Again, you are super humble, so
Okay.
don't hesitate to flex a little bit.
Let's see. Wrestled in high school, soccer, played soccer for the Richmond Strikers, which, if anybody knows, is the premier travel league in Richmond. Went to JMU, was going to go on a soccer scholarship. Didn't like the soccer coach, so then wound up wrestling for them. Can't say I was great, can't say I was bad, but good enough to be a collegiate wrestler. Came out and got into powerlifting. There was a lady, Kathy Roberts, when I moved up to Northern Virginia.
It's a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was, I think, 4-time female powerlifter of the year. So she saw me lifting and introduced me to USAPL, and I kind of took to it real well. First tournament she put me into was the USAPL Virginia State tournament, and I won that at the 198 class, and then followed up for 2 more years as state champ. Then while doing that, I moved into bodybuilding. And that was more of a, I was, for those who know, I'm really introverted, and kind of modest. So it was like one of those things that some friends challenged me to try it. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And so I signed up for a show, probably the hardest thing I've ever done, to stand in front of a bunch of people in that little banana hammock and be judged head to toe, And, but it was like one of those, I had to get out of my comfort zone. So I had to do something that I would not normally do, which was that. And after the show, I looked at the pictures and I was like, I can do much better. And so that became that, like, each year I'm like, all right, let me do a little better. Let me do a little better. And so took that on for a while. And a couple of the NPC judges were like, you could do real well. If you want to just keep listening to the progress notes that you get. And so I did, and wound up becoming the, state champ, but as NPC champion for Yanni Schomburger's shows in Virginia. Won 3 or 4 of the light heavy, won the overall, then went to nationals levels, and that's where, like, if you win nationals, you get your IFBB pro card. And for me, it was just kind of like let me just see what I can do against all the guys that were on gear, because I competed naturally. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if anybody remembers, but like they had the Body Rock here.
Mm-hmm. Up at George Mason.
Yeah. That was the largest amateur show, and it wasn't tested. But there was a guy, Dave, who ran it, who would do all the music for us, and he's like, if you ever win your show, you got to try the Body Rock. So I was like, all right, I'll never happen, but cool. So, of course, next show I win the overall, then I have to compete in the Body Rock, and it was just more like, let me just see if I can stay in the top 5 in a non-tested show. And first show I got 4th place, so it's kind of like, well, let me just see what I can do against guys who are on gear as a natural, and never like they're good, they're bad. It's just want to see how far I could push my genetics. So I did that for about 8 years, stayed in the top 5 each time, a couple of NPC championships. When I went to nationals, I got 8th out of 28 as a natural, and just kind of rolled from there. And then as I was doing that, that's when my personal training started really kicking in. People were wanting to like train with me, for bodybuilding and stuff. And right around that time, I was also working for a company that were in Gold's Gyms, where I met my wife. And so we became the top 2 producers. And then we branched off and started our own personal training company. And that's where the personal training really took off. And then I started training like a lot of athletes. And just because I happened to be near Annandale High School. Mm-hmm. So one of the coaches really liked how I worked with the young ladies. So he just shoved all his ladies towards me. And that was kind of trajectory of where I am now with mostly young ladies. With also, when I was working in the juvenile justice system, I think I was telling BJ a little while ago that I kind of got, pigeonholed into all girls group homes. Mm-hmm. So for like 10 years, all I worked with were young females who were at risk, locked up, or mostly coming out. So we were like a predisposition transition phase. So either they just came out of detention, or worse, down in Beaumont and Richmond, or they were getting ready to go. So I was working with them. And I just really learned to work with and communicate with like young ladies, and that kind of set my trajectory where I am now with mostly female clients. And have got one lady who came to me, I think she was 57 when she came to me, and she set world records at 63 for the deadlift and the straight curl. Got several young ladies who have won natural shows, become national champions, become sponsored by like Twin Lab supplements, things like that. So it's just been a real nice ride into where I am now, where luckily I got to meet BJ, work with him, and I guess he was so impressed that he hired me to do his strength and conditioning over at Capital MMA. So it's been a good ride. So that's where I am.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I can attest to like the work you do. You've helped me personally with a lot of the brainstorming about my nutrition. Yeah, I'm super impressed with everything I've learned in our friendship that's grown, and I can also attest to you being an introvert. That's the most I've actually ever heard you speak in one breath. So that was quite impressive. And then also we got over here is my guy Marcus Taylor. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, my name is Marcus Taylor from born and raised Northwest DC. I am the head strength conditioning coach at Gonzaga College High School. Also attended there. Went to Hampton University.
The real HU.
The real HU in the Tidewater area.
Sorry, any of my Howard listeners, I apologize.
But also own a gym co-own a gym actually where I'm from in Petworth. We were CrossFit Petworth, now we're Petworth Fitness. But yeah, I mean, just kind of like you, like I worked a while in personal training. Actually, when I was in Hampton, I took it was like a fitness class or whatever. Like, yeah, for some reason, like it's still in college, you still had to take like gym. I don't know why. But the teacher of the class said, hey, there's a gym that's down the street. They're looking for personal trainers, like no, experience required or whatever. And I'm, 19 years old. I'm like, all right, fine. Like I need some money. So I went over there and started training. I trained there for 3 years while I was in school and absolutely loved it. When I graduated Hampton, I worked for Amtrak in their government relations department. Then I worked, the 9/11 happened. I was number 67 hired for TSA.
Oh, wow.
Number 67, yeah. But worked in their program development office. And quickly realized I can't stand being at a desk. Yeah. I just couldn't stand it. It was just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me at all. I mean, I remember like at noon, my lunches would be like an hour and a half because I would go over to God, what was the gym? What's the gym I used to go to? It was on the other side of Pentagon City. Anyway, go to that gym. Was it? No, it was Bally's.
I was going to say Bally's.
Bally's.
Yeah, there was a Bally's.
Bally's, yeah. I was
over
Bally's.
like off of Arlington.
Yep.
Right there. The big.
Yep.
It was super.
Yeah,
Target's there now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skyline.
Skyline.
Yeah.
Just go to Bally's. So that was a long time ago. But yeah, go to Bally's during my lunch and then come back like an hour and a half later. Like, Marcus, where you been? Like I had to get out of here. I just couldn't stand it. Mm-hmm. But then once I left there, did some PR, public relations for a firm. But while I was there, so I was in a way sort of making like steps to make another move. And my move was to kind of get back into training. So I would, had a, decent paying job, but on Fridays and Saturdays, I would work I work at a gym right off of Wisconsin Avenue. And I'm like, you know what? I actually like doing this. I said, do I actually want to like dig into this?
Yeah.
So I ended up working found a boutique gym. It's called Bodysmith. They had two. There was one on 14th. There was another one that was in Glover Park that had just opened up. But it's a boutique spot. And it was probably like the best decision for me because, I have a ton of clients in the morning, even do some classes in the morning. And then the middle of my day, I actually went back to school. So I would go to Montgomery College and because what my goal was to, actually go back to school for physical therapy. Okay. But I was a marketing major when I was in college, when I was at Hampton. So I needed to take some prerequisites so I can at least apply.
Yeah.
so it was middle of the day. I would go to Montgomery College, then come back in the evening and then do more training. Yeah, I mean, it's
a lot.
But I mean, you know, when you're younger, you know, no kids, whatever, like, all right, just go ahead. Like, you'll sleep enough when you're dead. You know what I mean?
It's true. I think every coach and trainer has to.
Yeah.
You have to go through that period.
Yeah, you have to do that. But what it does is like it sharpens you a lot.
Yeah.
And then I finished taking my class there where I could actually like apply. I was thinking about going to Marymount, talking Marymount, and it was a 3-year DPT program. So you had to get your doctorate of physical therapy, but I would have to like just dedicate all of my time to school. Yeah. And at that time I was like, all right, am I going to go back into school and be like a student? You know, and I've got a house, I've got bills and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. So you know what? I'm gonna stay in the, you know, fitness world. I competed in kettlebells. So like, I was like, you know what? Kettlebells were like kind of like new at the time. Yeah. You know, this is around like 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. So kettlebells are like new. Yeah. So I competed in kettlebells. There's different types. So you had like the Pavel sort of arm, but then you also had the sport arm. Yep. And that was Vlade Fedorenko. That was the World Kettlebell Club. So I actually competed in that, and folks would kind of come to me as somebody to like learn kettlebells. So it was interesting. I bring up the going back to school for physical therapy thing because while I was in one of my classes, I think it was an anatomy physiology class. The teacher wanted to kind of like do like an icebreaker, like, hey, you know, I want icebreakers. Teachers and icebreakers, man, the worst. They wanted to just kind of you know, kind of touch the pulse of everybody. My cousin had a clothing line, and what he did was like he had to shoot with me with his with one of his shirts on, and I'm like flipping kettlebells, right? So he filmed it and put it on YouTube, and that was kind of like their little, you know, advert or whatever.
Is this still out there?
It's still out there.
Oh, we're gonna find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Are you shirtless?
No. But I'm flipping kettlebells. But I'm like, you know what? I'll put this video in here so everyone can see it. So they put it up in front of the class.
Oh no!
What was funny though, a girl that was in the class. I'm the oldest person in the class. I'm like 28, and there's like 20-year-old in there. And she saw the video, but then took it to the owner of CrossFit Bethesda and was like, hey, there's this guy that's in my class. He does kettlebells. You know, like, you know, you may want to talk to him. I get a call from this guy. He was like, hey, you know, would you want to consider like coming here to train? So then I started. This is when, again, CrossFit was new. Like kettlebells were new. CrossFit was like just getting out there. 300 was not that long from coming out. And so it was like, so Mark Twight and all of that stuff was kind of coming out. So it was relatively new. And so he's like, well, yeah, come on in, you know, let's talk. And so that's when I started, you know, into the CrossFit world again, doing classes, doing individual sessions with folks. And then I kind of like started getting more of a brain, more of a mind to like dig further into like strength and conditioning and like really like doing, like focusing a lot on classes. Again, working in a boutique gym, Bodysmith, then later on CrossFit Bethesda, later on then decided to open up with a couple of our partners from Bethesda, open up CrossFit Petworth. And there was like, we did kind of have like a strength and conditioning arm with it where, you know, have like a couple teams come in, but nothing serious. But eventually, like as I was at my gym, the strength and conditioning coach from Gonzaga, he had posted on Instagram that he was actually leaving. And so, which is funny, he and we graduated together in 97. And the athletic director, who was still there, like everybody stays at Gonzaga, no one leaves. So the athletic director was my old football coach and said, hey, Joe, you know, I want to interview for this job. He was like, come on in. So I came on in and he was like, all right, show me the weight room. I was like, Marcus, do you want to do this? Sure. And then that was 8 years ago. Okay. And I've been there ever since, you know. So like now is actually to the point now where I spend way more time at the school than I do at the actual gym. Like now, just because of, you know, a lot of stuff happened during that time. Like got married, you know, we have twin girls. So when you have twins, like everything shuts down. Everything shuts down.
Can't even imagine I have one.
Yeah, everything shuts down. But trust and believe. Like that's why I believe in God, and that's why God, He speaks in certain ways, and he puts you in certain, he will open opportunities will come up because of your belief in him, and he presents these things when you're ready. So once I was ready, then I went into this role now where the athletes I have coming in. I mean, even though he wasn't my athlete when I got there, but Caleb Williams. It's
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty decent quarterback, right? Like Blake Harper, he's at Crichton right now. Like he was at Howard, and then now all of a sudden became like a huge, sensation there. And we had just on Thursday night, right? Our two guard from last year. So Nick Lewis, he's the point guard of VCU.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
He was our guard all 4 years at Gonzaga. Derek Dixon, UNC.
Yep.
He was the two guard at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They played against each other on Thursday. Had one of the best battles back and forth. Yeah. VCU had that 19-point comeback, but those are my guys.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like the level of athletes that I have access to. At the school, it's just phenomenal. I just love it.
And there's that basketball theme coming up again, Alex. I always say basketball players are the best athletes in the world. And I don't even think it's remotely close. Everything, cardio, power, explosiveness, change of direction. I don't think you can find anyone who's a better athlete than the seventh man on a basketball team.
Now, I will say that they can their skills translate to so many different things.
So many things.
So many things.
Told you. See, I'm not the only one who thinks that, Alex.
So many things.
I still have my thoughts. I think every time I think about a basketball athlete, I think of that. I might have played for Kentucky in
Paget?
2012 or 2013.
Of course, you're picking the slowest guy afoot. That's what you're thinking.
No, he
Travis Paget.
he went to shoot a three, landed on one leg, and his leg snapped in half.
Yeah,
Because the legs are very thin, usually for basketball players.
like birds.
Yeah.
They fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the. That right there is exception, not the rule.
I don't know. They all have thin legs.
Well, I don't know. Larry Johnson, I wouldn't say had thin legs.
Not at all.
Charles Oakley wouldn't say he had thin legs.
Not
and
at
I
all.
would definitely put Larry Johnson against anybody in terms
I'll
of
give
power.
you, Charles Barkley didn't have thin legs, but
He
is
doesn't
he
have
a
the
good
thin-
athlete?
Yes, his footwork's incredible.
Now, I will say this. I'm going to push back slightly. As far as, I will say this.
Uh-oh. we got a fight now.
Right, we got to fight. So, now, the most powerful athletes in the world.
Shot
though.
putters.
So, I was either going to say either shot putters or Olympic lifters.
Yeah.
Now that's explosive.
I would say vertical power.
Yeah.
Olympic lifters are incredible. But the ability to work through different planes, it's a
Right,
shot
it's
putter.
shot putter.
Hands down.
Yeah. You have a thrower.
Yeah. And I guess I should say a little bit about my background too, because I don't think not everybody knows. Same thing.
I come to bed, everybody.
Well, this is. I'll be brief. I won't be as long-winded as you talking about Travis Kelce. And yes, I said Kelce.
One of the greatest athletes of all time.
No, not so much.
Not at all.
Second best tight end ever.
He's running in molasses outside.
He is. Well, he's in love now. So yeah, I grew up in a culture where lifting was very important outside of Western Pennsylvania. One of my first coaches where I learned Olympic lifting from, or weightlifting, because some people say Oli lifting, which is not. It's not. It's called. It's weightlifting. Was Marty Cipher, who's actually on the wall back up there. He was on the 84 staff.
Okay.
So that was our YMCA. So that was kind of like how I started learning. My first coach that really pulled me aside when I was 13 was a bodybuilder next door. They called him Chicken Legs, Jay, because he had no legs, but he was jacked up top.
Wait, did he actually have no legs?
He did have legs. He did have legs. He was not an adaptive athlete, but he had thin legs, as you like to cite on people. He could not jump though, and so he was the first exercise I ever did though. Was he called me Young Blood. He was like, Young Blood, we're gonna squat. I said, well, I want to bench. He's like, no, we're gonna squat. So wrapping up my legs. 13 years old.
Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, drinking amino force.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that was kind of like my upbringing. I was a thrower in high school and threw in college, and then I threw in the Highland Games for, 12, 13 years. But my background really comes from athletics and training, weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, those different modalities to be a better athlete. So my college coach was on the 88 staff. He was the throws coach and decathlon coach. So that was my college coach. So I've been very fortunate to have like literally 2 Olympic coaches teaching me how to train before I was even 20 years old. So
That's rare.
Yeah,
That's
super
rare.
rare, right? And then just being around great athletes. When I guess it was like my first head strength coaching job was at Capital in 2003. So I was like the first strength coach we had.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for about a year and a half. At that time, I was into powerlifting. I competed a few times, but I was never like a big deal or anything like that. I was pretty strong, but focused more like on the bench. And I went out to Westside and trained at Westside for a week. And it was by far the most powerful educational experience I've ever had in my life. And that includes having like postgraduate work done at Harvard, like in education and leadership. Westside was the most educational experience I've ever had. So yeah, I've been at coaching forever, like since this is my 34th year. So 35, 34, how many years have you been coaching?
I mean, geez, I was gonna say like mid-20s.
Okay.
Probably.
So we'll
somewhere
say
around there.
25 years. So like right away, right there, we're at over just between the 3 of us, and Alex, I don't think has ever coached a day of weightlifting in his life.
What's correct?
Yeah. So we got like at this table, we have 100 years of experience in quite a variety, right? Like you have that CrossFit background, the kettlebell background, bodybuilding background, more the S&C background. And I will say too, the kettlebells, first time I ever used a kettlebell was in 1996.
So that was early.
Yeah.
early
So like
early.
that, yeah. So like because throwers, we use those things and they called poods.
Yeah.
We would use those to throw. And so, yeah. So like, and then when you look back, like the history of kettlebells, looking around, we're in my basement weight room. There's no pictures of kettlebells, but like some of the stuff from like the 1800s, like simple exercises that people did. But like kettlebells, go all the way back to like the 19th century. So yeah, it's a great tool, and it was really neat to see 10 years later popping up in Muscle and Fitness. And I remember my wife being like, "Those are the things you have downstairs." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what those are."
They're awesome.
Yeah. Great tool. So yeah, we have that's what I'm excited about too. And even like on all kinds of levels, right? Like you talk about your faith in God, right? Like, and that's important to you. And that's one of your drivers. I'm more of a Buddhist. So like we have like all these different belief systems, training systems, but in the divergent or the difference in all of that, the diversity and all that thinking and training and background, there's all these like common themes that need to exist.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about a couple of days ago, talking about like the connections. There's
Yes.
a lot of connections, even when things can be like different, but like there's a part where certain things they sort of like blend together.
And that's the magic. That's when it all makes sense. Yeah, Alex, what do you have to contribute to this conversation? You're doing such a good job over there.
Well,
No, never mind, Alex. We're ready to move on.
I first started lifting in high school in my basement with some weights we got from a garage sale or something like that, and it was
Were they metal or plastic?
Pink.
a bar and then plates that were like a plastic mold filled with concrete.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all had
laying
those.
around here
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
Those are my uncles from like
J.C. Penney,
Yeah.
Sears.
Yep. The bars coated in plastic. too.
Yes. Yep. And the bar actually like slid. Yeah.
And I didn't have a bench or anything, and I didn't really have any experience, but we found a blog written by a crazy guy called Chaos and Pain, and he really liked the Zercher squat.
Really?
So I was in my basement doing Zercher squats
That's
and
amazing.
curls, basically, until I got to college when I had access to an actual weight room.
That's amazing. And now like Zercher squat's like the sexiest lift of all time.
Yeah.
Right?
They're
But
great.
that was 15 years ago-ish.
That would have been like 2007, 2008.
Yeah. So I remember like when I was at Westside, like having this conversation with Louis, so many great conversations with him. I did a lot of listening. I shouldn't even say conversations. I did a lot of listening. But he was talking about, he's saying all these MFers out here want to act like they invent stuff. There's nothing invented.
No.
Yeah, I remember I tell the kids all the time. It's like not even just the kids, but also because a lot of it comes filters from the coaches and from the parents, the stuff they see on IG, and they think that whatever their sport they're playing, that there's certain movements for their sport.
Right.
Only no, there's not. No. You know what I mean? Like that you have now, I mean, there are certain things where you can sort of like, okay, well, this kind of applies to you, but especially at a certain age, just get strong.
Right.
You know?
Especially like kids, like they talk about. So I worked at Velocity Sports Performance for a year, and I left teaching for a year and worked there specifically as a strength and conditioning coach and doing business development. And the person who trained us, we did a lot of work under, was Lawrence Seagrave, who is like one of the greatest sprint coaches of all time. So we learned stuff from him and the training that we got, and then the training that we all did together and learning. But I just remember one of the issues I had with that organization was they were trying to teach running mechanics to like 8-year-old kids. And I'm like, no, like they're not even, puberty's not even on the doorstep yet. And why are we teaching them these running mechanics that aren't going to exist? We need to teach them how to be coordinated and move efficiently. But doing like wall drills, you know, with a 45-degree shin angle with your foot completely.
Triple flexion.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, what are we need to teach them how to move, how to be stronger and be more fit. Like, if we do that, then we'll take care of the mechanics later, because the mechanics are going to completely change between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, they start growing, get to that awkward stage, so they're going to lose
Look like
all
Cliff and the
that.
Big Red Dog.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, just trying to get them to stay focused long enough to do the exercise, much less adding in all these other layers. It's just, you're overwhelming them.
Yep. Keep it simple, for sure.
Yeah, and then sometimes I think, you know, depending on where you are, like folks are almost trying to justify that they have a trainer. Like, I'm sorry, the trainer's trying to justify their existence to the person that's paying them. You know what I mean? So it's like, because it's like, well, we're doing these drills, and you know, this right here does this over here, and it's like, well, you're talking to the person who's paying you. So so that now that they feel that their investment, they have a you know, good, you know, ROI, like return on investment.
Right.
But in all actuality, it's like, just like you said, like you don't need to be doing a lot of these complex things at a certain age. Now, when you get a little bit older, then like, you need to kind of, you know, hit on certain topics. But at that age, like, you don't need all of that.
Yeah, I mean, you just touched on part like about trainers, you know, since I am a trainer, you know, we do every 2 years you get recertified, right? So IDEA, which is kind of like the biggest thing we have to a governing body in training, they have the conferences. And I would go to them, and you're listening to these people that are like, okay, you know, you got to do this exercise. And I remember one time my wife and I are listening to this guy, Juan Carlos Santana. Suppose like one of the top ones. And he's on the stability balls, and he's standing on them. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And my wife and I are like, why would you teach your client never needs to be on that? Well, you know, you gotta make it sexy. You gotta give them a reason to come back. And we're like, but if they get hurt, they don't come back. Well, you just gotta teach them. So we went through this whole session of him doing all this stuff that just was unnecessary. You know, it didn't apply to life. It didn't apply to any sports. And so we're like, okay, you know, we're just kind of listening to it and like, you know, in one ear, out the other. 2 years later, you know, I go back to the conference again. There he is, 2 braces on his knees because he's trying to show somebody the ball rolled, tore both his ACLs. And I'm talking to him. I was like, so what was that? And he's like, I learned my lesson, man. He's like, we need to just teach what's good for them, what's safe for them, and, you know, what's effective. Because if you're a trainer and you're worrying about like what everybody looks at you and how I look, and, you know, that's how I get more clients, or that's how I keep my clients. You're not worrying about their safety. You're not worrying about getting them the results. It's more of your ego. You know, and how can I make sales? Because I some of my clients will come in there complaining, they're like, man, it's kind of boring. I'm like, are you down 10 pounds? Are you stronger? Are you winning? Yeah. Then what we're doing is working, you know. You're not hurt, you know. Then you see other guys in there doing stuff, and, you know, they're tearing biceps, you know, messing up knees because they're trying to do this high intensity stuff that pretty much doesn't translate to anything they're doing. So you're just risking injury. So I watch trainers do that, and that's for me. What we were just talking about, that drives me insane when you see that.
Yeah, it's because then it gets out of the realm of what is good for the client, and now you're doing what's good for you. And you said it before,
And it should never be that.
and it should never be that way. And it's like you're leading that person, that trainer is leading with the salesman versus leading with the trainer first.
Right.
You gotta how does it go? Like no one cares what you know if they don't know that you care.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
they have to know that you actually care.
Yep.
And you'll actually get more people who will stick with you and stay with you.
For sure.
If they realize that, like, hey, this person is invested in me. Right.
You can always tell the quality of a coach by the relationships that they have with their athletes or clients after you're not working with them anymore.
Yeah.
Like if they move on, they get older, if it's like a high school or college, or if it's someone who sticks with you because they're an adult already, right?
Yeah.
So they're already like living in the area that you are. Like that's the measure to me of a coach, right?
Absolutely.
And teacher, like whatever. Like I'm like when I look up here, like I don't even have like my accomplishments really in this room. Like I have people that I have relationships with in here, right? Because that's the stuff that matters to me, and they know they can come back and we still keep in touch, right? And like my daughter calls Samela, that's like her big sister, right? Like, and she called her Auntie Mela when she was younger, but like all those kids that are now adults that are in their 30s, 40s, and they're just crushing it, and that's where like maybe I did do something important, right? And it's because you met them where they were. You didn't expect them to conform to your system. You made your system work for them. And I think like that kind of gets into some of the questions too about like how do you program and like all those things. Like,
Oh man, yeah.
yeah. So I know you got a fistful of questions over there, Skippy.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, we could use this opportunity to go into our favorite segment, Tap In, Tap Out, where we're going to propose a statement to the two of you. And if you agree with it, you'll say tap in. If you don't agree with it, you'll say tap out. And normally, a really fantastic AI song would play right now, but we can't. So just imagine.
Oh, there it is.
AI. Amazing.
It's not ChatGPT though. Let's be clear.
I'm hearing Vogue in my mind right now.
Vogue?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. I was hearing In Vogue in my mind, but that's okay.
close.
Does Vogue by Madonna pop into your head often?
It does.
Oddly
I've
enough,
seen him dancing.
Especially now that we've gotten to be friends with Jason,
Yeah.
a lot of that pops in my head now.
We're going to have Jason on here at some point. The nicest medicine in the history.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. My statement comes from a clip I saw from Rogan's podcast where he had a strong man.
Oh, sorry.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but he said that people over the age of 30 should not deadlift.
Eddie Hall?
Maybe.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. Well, you just kind of stomped all over my statement.
Sorry.
So
This is normal. So what's the statement?
the statement is people over the age of 30, if they're not competing for weightlifting, should not deadlift.
Okay. I think it was Robert Oberst, but it's all right.
Would you stop? It doesn't matter who it is. I just would like the expert's opinion on that
All right.
statement.
Well, I want to hear this. I'm not much of a deadlifter. My best deadlift is 500 pounds, so I don't consider that like a deadlift expert. But
Tap out.
tap out? Why? Why are you tapping out of that, Mr. Deadlift?
Well, it's the issue comes in when people try to do their one rep max over and over and over, and they haven't learned the proper mechanics of it. So when you do the deadlift, it's kind of a full body thing. You learn to engage your core, which is incredibly important throughout all of your life. You're moving furniture, you're working on a car, you're playing with your kids, you're exercising. Engage your core. I used to, obviously I used to train these two young ladies in particular. They're like my nieces. Their dad is one of my best friends. Their mom's one of my good friends. And she was a physical therapist. And she would watch me teaching the girls how to deadlift. And she would have a fit. She'd be so angry. 2 years later, she finally comes to me and she's like, hey, gotta apologize. We learned lately about how beneficial the deadlift is. And she's a physical therapist. She goes, every person that comes into me that has non-specific back pain, I teach them how to deadlift. And she said 9 times out of 10, teaching them to engage their core and strengthen their lower back gets rid of the lower back pain. That's non-specific. So it's one of those things. It's just, from bottom up, the kinetic chain, you learn to connect it, you learn to use it. And there's no real danger if you're, I should say, we're programming correctly, we're going up slowly, we're keeping our form. It just builds your whole body. Mm-hmm. So I think they're always talking about like, well, you got the guy goes in, warms up, goes right to 500, and he's got bad form. He's trying to do too many reps with like super heavy weight. Mm-hmm. And well, you just get fatigue, bad form, or dehydration. Next thing you know, you've got, torn muscles, stuff like that.
I think people overestimate how strong they are too.
Yes.
Like 225 on a deadlift, like it's still 225 pounds.
Right.
So like when you hear like someone say like a 500 pound deadlift or a 600 pound deadlift, you're like, oh, I could do half that. Well, mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. Most people can. Right. But like it's still 225 pounds.
Right.
Right. 300 pounds is still 300 pounds.
Right.
Like it doesn't. Like be real about what you're capable of doing and like how close you are to failure. Right. And I mean biomechanical failure.
Right.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to respect the weight. Definitely
Yes.
Respect mm-hmm. the weight.
Yep.
So you said tap out.
Right.
I'm going to say tap in based off of your qualifier. So we're right here together.
Right.
So because thing is, if you know how to properly do it, if you've been coached in it, mm-hmm. right? You understand your mechanics. You understand, because when I if I have the kids deadlift, but the way we do I guess we'll get into our program later.
Yeah, we'll get into it for sure.
I lead with the RDL first, mm-hmm. and then maybe eventually we'll go to a conventional deadlift. But we have to understand how to properly do the deadlift first. Right. Like, so again, like when coaching it, you have to coach it through the lens of, every single rep you have to do sort of a take inventory mm-hmm. of how that rep went.
Right.
And if the rep didn't go well, then all right, now you have to respect the weight,
right?
Bring the weight mm-hmm. back down. But even before then, kind of go off like an RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion. Mm-hmm. All right. If I tell you like I don't want you going any more than a 6, and then you're trying to go for 1 rep max. Okay, now the onus is on you because you're trying to hurt yourself.
Right.
I don't want you to get hurt at all, but you are hurting yourself. Mm-hmm. You're going against the program. So I would say, I'm saying tap in because it's a movement that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to pick stuff up. Mm-hmm. So you at least want to have practice in picking stuff up off the ground. But again, working it, as long as you understand how to properly do it, as long as you understand that, where you're supposed to bear the weight. Mm-hmm. Also, here's the other thing. We may have here's something else on top of it. Like which version of the deadlift are we doing? Are we doing
sure.
trap bar, mm-hmm. straight bar? Because trap bar, like now the weight's positioned on your side versus in front of you. So in that and even that movement, you're thinking like, okay, that's sort of kind of gets in the area of almost like a squat kind of. Yeah. So it just sort of depends. So I'm going to say tap in, but with an asterisk, like, mm-hmm. all right, how are you, programming it? Which version are you doing? And does this person know how to mm-hmm. properly execute it? If they don't know how to properly execute it, then if you just program like, all right, go ahead and do deadlifts, mm-hmm. and you haven't given them any education whatsoever, definite tap out.
Right.
But if they know what they're doing, then tap in, mm-hmm. asterisk.
Then are we
you
good?
You guys are agreeing.
Right. It was. Yeah. So are we doing it backwards? Because if you tap out, that means you disagree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you got to mix.
No. So
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I'll mess it up.
No, but what I think is interesting is you're both saying really the same thing. And it's
right.
About progressions and regressions.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like
right.
how are you teaching the person to do this said movement? And that mm-hmm. applies to like every movement. But like that hinge is super important, right? Mm-hmm. You got to know how to hinge. For a lot of reasons, round back versus straight back, blah blah blah. Like there's both work.
Right.
It just depends on the athlete. It depends on their biomechanical advantages or disadvantages and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I know for me, the only time I've really, says the guy with a shoulder replacement, the worst injury I would say I've had is when I herniated. Like I blew out my back. I herniated L3, 4, 4, mm-hmm. 5, and it was deadlifting because I was not respecting the weight. And it wasn't like heavy, mm-hmm. right? Like I was doing speed sets, like 8 sets of 12 or 8 sets of 2 with 60%. And I got to about the 5th set and the bar was too far away from my body. And just a little bit. I wouldn't say it was bad technique. I wasn't like yanking the bar, but it's just a little too far away, and it was still heavy enough. Man, I was down. So like ever since then, like, and that was 2013. Like ever since then, I just don't do as much deadlifting. Right. And when I do, I'm just a little more like I do more RDLs. I'll do them more of like a trap bar or like on the shrugger machine, something like that, where my hands are, next to my side in that neutral grip.
But I think that just goes to exactly what we're saying is like you got too far. Your form was off.
Yep.
So you got hurt.
Yep.
If your form wouldn't have mattered what age you were, you could do it correctly.
Right.
And I think a lot of them, people think like deadlift, let me just lift the bar, right?
Right. Let me just pick it up.
It's a very technical exercise,
Yeah, it looks very simple.
Right.
But it's a very, very, very technical exercise.
Right. So, learn how to get like your pelvis underneath you, right? Like to finish the lift versus like overextending and going to extension. Right. Like
you got that, you got your core. Do you start off with a little curve where you're engaging? You start flat back where it's totally tight, locking your lats down and back. Right. There's so many things that go into it that I don't think a lot of people are taught. And, they watch a video or they watch some jack dude doing it. Yeah. They're like, oh, well, that's how he got that way. Let me try it. And they're 35, 40, never really done deadlifts. Right. Well, yeah, it's just an accident waiting to happen. Right.
For sure.
So, but I definitely don't agree with it because, I've taken plenty of people that are 40, 50, and 60 and taught them to deadlift. And I've just watched their posture get better, them being able to do like everyday life better. Yep. Now, they're not starting off with, 200 pounds. They're starting off with 90 pounds. Yeah. Form perfect and gradual progression. And there's no issue with it. Yeah. But I think the teaching of it and making sure that their mechanics do not break down. And when you see their mechanics break down, you're like, nope, let's stop. Yeah. And let's start over.
Well, I think it's the one big lift where you have to check your ego, right? Yes. Because like when you're squatting, whether it's a front squat or back squat, you're absorbing the load. It is, right? So the moment you unrack it, whether or not this is going to happen, right? The bench is the same way. You have the bar over your face. You unrack it, whether or not this is going to be catastrophic or not. And you can always like bail on it, right? Right. The deadlift though is away from you. It's hanging, right? So like you move it and you're like, oh, I can dig a little deeper, right? It's moving a little bit more. I can dig a little bit deeper. And then all of a sudden, bam. Yep. Right. Or you get to like mid shin and you're like, all I got to do is get it 4 more inches over my knees. And then I just got to creep it up, my thigh. And so that really like can be catastrophic because it's not as immediate as knowing. Like I remember I did 3 board presses on the bench and it was 500. And I remember unracking it. I finished it and I just remember that was it. Like
done.
I'm done. I'm never going to and this could be the coward in me or whatever. And I'm okay with it. I knew at that moment I would never put 500 down to my chest. Because it was just too much for me. Like it was too scary. I was good.
You just know.
I just knew.
But I think part of it's experience. Like you've had years and years and years of experience of what weight feels like. Yeah. And then you just something new, something in your just like, and this is it.
And that's the difference between like honestly, right? Like the greatest at whatever said thing is. Like the great powerlifters, like those guys are like willing to like have catastrophic injuries. Right. Some even willing to die under the bar. Like, I just knew it wasn't me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's that experience, but I think that's what makes the deadlift so dangerous. It isn't so much like is it good for you? Is it bad for you? It's, can you check your ego enough? Good catch, I almost swore. Can you check your ego enough to be like, yeah, I got to get this tight. I got to tighten up my technique.
Yep.
Well, I think like what the guest on Rogan's show is getting at and what you have all alluded to is that it does take a lot of practice and you are coaching people how to do it correctly. I think really the statement was just like for your run-of-the-mill person who maybe can't afford a personal trainer or doesn't have one, should they be doing deadlifts or are there alternatives to that lift that would be safer for them to get into with less risk of injury?
I mean, honestly, you know what? I would agree with him on that.
Yes.
If hey, here's a program, new person, just starting off, January 1, it includes deadlifts or whatever. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
No. I mean, I would even, to add on to that, I would even say back squats. Because,
yeah, absolutely.
Because you need to know how to bail the
Mm-hmm.
bar. If you don't know how to bail out the bar, that could be really bad.
A lot of people fall forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, within the past 2-3 years, we've had like 3 or 4 deaths from back squatting, and because they didn't know how to bail. They're squatting. They weren't taught squat inside the rack.
Mm-hmm.
The person spotting them wasn't taught how to spot or didn't
Mm-hmm.
spot correctly. So yeah, I mean, those are things that I, as a new person, I wouldn't teach them. I wouldn't want to do it in their new program or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, squat. It's just down and up, right? But there's a lot of mechanics to it. Where are your hips? Where are your knees? Where are your shoulders? What's your bar path and all that?
Mm-hmm.
It's you'd be better off with, you're new, leg press.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. If you have one available.
If you want to work on some stability, just throw some walking lunges in there,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, these big, massive compound movements, beginners, or if you do not have a coach, you don't need to be doing those at all.
Yeah, I actually, so at school, like, I have all the guys front squatting. Like, you will front squat. And I've had plenty of the, kids ask me, like, Coach, how can we front squat, we don't back squat? Like, you will not see me have you guys back. Like, now, if it's a weight room full of seniors that I've been working with since freshman year, right? Then maybe we can back squat. But front squat, the reason why, just because there's so much, because I also coach them in Olympic lifting. So, because of the carryover into Olympic lifting, but also it's a safer lift in a team setting.
Right.
Plenty of times in our weight room, I'll have, I may have 65, 70 guys in there, right? Can you imagine 65, 65, 70 guys, high school kids trying to back squat? That's not going to be it. So front squat, all to say, like, look, if it's one of those lifts, like, either you got it or you don't.
Right.
If you don't got it, just boom, dump it forward. Everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Everybody is fine. Everybody is fine. So, so I would say, kind of go back to the back squat.
Yeah.
It would be just up there with the deadlift, for a brand new person, especially leaving them out on their own.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, my only people that I have really back squat are my power lifters or the ones that have, been doing it for years, and they're not new. I mean, anybody new, I don't even try to teach them that,
Right.
But I have like my more advanced, they're 20, 25, 30, they've been doing it for years. But even then, when I first get with them, if they like, I back squat 185, well, we're going to drop it down to 135, watch your form, correct all that, build that foundation back up. Because inevitably, if you look at someone, you can see, well, you're shifting to the right, your right knee's dropping in, your feet are caving in. So you got to correct all that before you can even feel comfortable to give them any more challenge.
Yep.
But, that goes to like a lot of people don't. You're like, back to the first thing. Oh, look at my client, man. She's squatting 270 pounds. Yeah, but look at her back, look at her knees, look at her feet. It's back to that ego thing. And I think that's also what gets to that where I want to lift a lot of weight. Or I want my client to lift a lot of weight. So let's put them on a deadlift. Let's put them on a squat. And it's not in the client's best interest or the athlete's best interest.
Well, I think it's important too is that, like, when you look at it from like an application standpoint of like people who are, it's like if they're training to perform better athletically, right? So whether you're a grappler, Muay Thai fighter, football player, basketball player, like whatever, if you're someone, and especially from an adult perspective, where you don't have a trainer, you don't have a coach, but you got a program, right? Like an online program, or I sell programs online. You do, like we all do it, but like it's really important, like, to make sure you're setting those people up for success. So like I would say, if you're someone who's receiving an online program too, is like, be very clear about what your questions are, right? Like if it has programmed in there most importantly, you should have a conversation with the person before they even write a program for you.
Right.
So they know your limitations emotionally, physically, like all of those things, what your injuries are, your history and all that stuff. Because if you have like back squats programmed in there and you're not like great at back squatting, like you shouldn't just do it.
Right.
Right. Like what is an alternative to that? Right. So like there's a lot of, like I remember when I was at TC Williams High School, when I was a strength coach there, like we had 2 squat racks, and I ran 150 kids through that weight room between 3:30 and 6 o'clock with 2 squat racks and like 6 benches. Made sense. But I learned how to do progressions and regressions really well because we didn't have racks, right? So we did a lot of goblet squats. we did it, and especially with box squats. So like I would say for people out there who are just, whether you're advanced, new, or whatever, there's a lot of benefit in doing heavy goblet squats, right? Because
we do those. We do a ton of
like
those.
it builds your upper body strength, it builds your upper back, your upper posterior.
The dynamic trunk control by trying to keep yourself just upright. You know, I mean, it does so much.
Single leg goblet squats, right? There's not enough, people don't do enough single leg work, right? Like, and the cool thing about single leg work too is it's more limiting, right? Like you can only go so heavy, especially if it's like in a goblet. Like, you can only get so much, but you're going to be able to get a lot of benefit without having a ton of weight there, right?
Right.
So I think it's really challenging. Like if you're someone who's training, you got a program from somebody, or you just picked one up offline or whatever, like don't just do it because it's programmed in there. Like see if you're not doing it right, you need to know what the regressions or the progressions or regressions are. If you're not doing it right, the regressions. And then if you're killing it, like what's the next evolution to that, right? So how do you continue to progress in that lift?
Yeah.
All right, BJ, it's time for your tap in, tap out question.
Oh my gosh. All right, so here's one for you guys. So you just get a promotion at the gym, and maybe a stripe on your belt, and you casually leave your belt at the gym. Tap in that you think that's okay. Tap out if you think that's completely shameful. Tony, why don't you go ahead first?
So tap in if I think it's shameful.
Is it shameful to do that after you just got like a promotion? Like your coaches said, you know what? I believe in you. You've demonstrated toughness, technique. You're putting time on the mat. You have great character. You're a leader of this gym. So we're promoting you.
Oh boy.
So just, you know, it's about those things, but it's also a sign of like,
That
I
question is
respect you.
angled to BJ's right.
I was going to say, it feels like this is really
Feels
pointed
personal?
towards someone.
Yeah, it's not you though, Tony. Obviously, you don't do jujitsu.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, what do you think? Do you think it's okay just to casually leave your belt at the gym?
If I was a person who gave that student a stripe, I would feel kind of offended. I would think, you know, we just went through this. I'm giving them kudos and praise and everything.
Publicly too.
Oh, yeah.
Publicly,
So,
yeah. It was in front of their peers.
I've lit.
Yeah.
People know how impressed I am with this student, right?
Yeah.
And then they're just going to leave their belt on the floor. I'd feel kind of disrespected. I'd be like, so everything I just said to them is just kind of in
Meant
one
no-
ear out the other. And it's
meant nothing.
Yeah.
And it shows you the value of the relationship too, I think too.
You know, it's kind of like, this guy's crap. I don't really care what he says. So,
yeah. I don't mean anything to him.
yeah.
Yeah, I think for anyone who doesn't do jujitsu, another way to phrase this question.
Oh,
BJ,
please, Alex.
Is it okay to spit in your coach's face?
Marcus, what are your thoughts?
So those are listening, this is pointed towards me. So tell you what happened. A couple Mondays ago, going to class, and Coach Court, he gives me my 4th stripe, my blue belt. Absolutely love it. Love Coach Court. I've been, doing jiu-jitsu. I'm in my 4th year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I hurt my arm. I had shoulder surgery 2 years ago, and coming to class, I was coming in late.
Oh, so you were late to class.
Oh,
Yeah.
disrespected
Didn't know
dojo
that.
too.
But see, here's the. But so on Mondays and Wednesdays, I have because I just finished my master's in I'm 98.9% done with my master's in sports and performance psychology. So I had a group session that ended right at 8. So, and class starts at 8, and I got to get in, right? I have to get in. So I'm coming in. So I'm about 10 minutes late to class, and we're working on some throw. And then one of the, my guy, Jen, he's working on a throw, and all of a sudden I just feel something in the top of my bicep into my shoulder. I'm like, I don't know what this is. And it feels like a torn bicep. And I've torn this bicep before. So I only have one head connected.
Yep.
So there's it.
That's pretty.
Yeah. And actually on this one too. So
That's not a peak. That's just a detached arm.
Right.
That's arm. Yeah. So I feel that I'm like, oh snap! Like this is not going to be good. And so I'm thinking about that. So we go through class. I don't even spar that day.
So you're late for class. You get hurt.
Get hurt.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, the trifecta.
Yeah.
So he lines everybody up, get the stripe, and I'm beyond excited because I'm like, man, like I'm excited and then I'm not excited. I'm like, well, because now everybody's gonna be gunning after me next class, and then I'm like this close to purple, which means everybody in capital period is now gonna be like, and I have one of them right here staring at me right now. He's got black eyes just staring at me right now.
I'm gentle.
Sure. And
No, he's not.
yeah, he's not. No, I know he's not. And then I'm heading out, going to the car, and then all of a sudden, Coach Court sends me a video. I'm sorry, not a video. Sends a picture. I'm like, what is this picture? Why you send me this picture like at like 10 o'clock at night?
You never want to get a picture from your black.
Yeah, exactly. And it's my belt. I'm like, you got to be kidding. And I put myself in the bag. I'm like, I know my belt's in here.
Yeah.
It's not in there. It's not in there. It's not in there. Not in there at all. Anyway,
Hey,
I mean, and I actually posted about it on Instagram. That's why. And I was
That's
like,
how I saw it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I should probably get this stripe back.
Yeah.
because I felt terrible.
Well, you went really good with the self-deprecation of it, like to try to ease the pain, because Court called me and he was like, can you believe this? And I'm like, he's a good dude, but I mean, so I'm just waiting. So here's the thing I learned too. And as you continue to climb up, you realize everybody's just being kinder to you when you were younger, like younger in your belt. Because not you though, Alex.
No one was ever
We've
kind to me.
always loved beating up Alex. But like you realize, like once you go to that next belt, you realize, oh, they were being nice to me previously.
Yeah.
Like that's how I always felt like you're getting better was whenever like the higher belts are less kind to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Paul.
He's never nice.
No, he was never kind.
He crushes everybody equally.
Yeah. Chad's kind,
Yeah.
but not Paul. Court's hard. He likes to impose his size.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
He does.
Yeah, he gets joy out of like
Yeah.
suffocating.
He's
you.
one of those.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Court's he
Sit on your chest kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
And he smiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Am I the only striker focused at the table here?
No, Alex.
I did Muay Thai
Okay.
until I got a concussion.
Alex's lady did Muay Thai too.
Yeah.
She was a coach.
Okay. Good.
And then I think you mentioned you got to take a college course in fitness earlier in your bio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was able to take karate as a credit in college.
Dope.
I took basketball.
That's why you think they're the greatest athletes.
Well, they are.
Like, oh, well, they're so much better than me.
I do love hoops.
We had
You're not very tall though, BJ.
no, but I could dunk.
weightlifting in college.
Yeah,
Which
you
was
didn't
On
know
a regulation rim.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
I even got a picture.
Wow. Well, a picture doesn't really.
Well, it does back then
You
because
photoshopped out the ladder.
I will say the ball is bouncing out because I missed it. So, but this is also.
So then no. I can also dunk. No, the ball doesn't
But
go in.
my hand is at the rim. Like clearly there was something that happened.
Maybe.
But this is also in the '90s when it was like point and shoot.
Hold on.
You're
saying you hit the rim.
brother.
It didn't say play school on the back of the.
No, it wasn't a plastic rim. It was. I'm gonna pull it up because I have it actually saved in.
Did you have pumps on? That would make sense.
Bro, wait till you see what I was wearing. You're gonna be like, what?
You're dressed like Woody Harrelson and White Man Can't
Kind
Jump.
of, not far off. Oh, where's that? Oh, there it is, right there.
It's not your phone background.
You're up there.
What?
You're up there.
Jeans.
Why
brother.
is the ball so hot?
Jeans and shell toes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No,
with
hold
a
on
little
second.
belly hanging out.
I would like
too.
the audio listeners to know that you cannot see the face of the person in this photo.
This
Right.
That could have been
That is
anybody.
fair.
This is right here.
Yeah.
Here, how about here? That was me right there too.
Which one?
The one who's way up in the air, over the guy who was 6'2".
That's you?
Yeah, brother.
Okay.
Yeah,
BJ's in hoop.
I couldn't really hoop. I could jump. I could pass.
There's a difference.
I was like Charles Oakley. Yeah, I was
second
good
Charles
at
Oakley.
setting picks. I was good at fouling people.
I bet you're good at fouling.
Oh,
That makes
so yeah, it's like my jiu-jitsu
You know, I played basketball in middle school, and we did win.
with those thighs.
Oh yeah,
You should see this kid's legs.
I was really good at taking a charge. Let me tell you, that was I was key to the team's defense.
Yeah?
because I didn't care.
Everybody needs one of those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would have recruited you for throwing.
really?
Yeah, because you
I
probably
got weak arms. Though.
yeah, but you got them big gams.
I do have. Yeah.
He's got like 34-inch thigh.
Jeez.
All right, so where are we going here? Alex?
Well,
What do you
let's get into a question here now. How I think this would be relevant to a lot of people listening. How do you handle an athlete after a hard loss?
Ooh. Well, Gonzaga's never really had hard losses.
Define loss.
Yeah, define loss.
There are some, but no, I mean, so like, it just depends. So it depends on the kid. And I'll put it like this. 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, I remember I was with our rugby team. We were at Rugby Nationals, I was with our rugby team. We were at Rugby Nationals in Elkhart, Indiana. All right? Exotic, beautiful.
Exotic.
Yeah. You don't really need to go there.
Ever.
But, but anyway.
We love you, Elkhart.
Yeah. And we were playing St. Ignatius. They're out of Ohio. And
Oh, Cleveland St. Ignatius? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we just lost to them yesterday at Gonzaga. But anyway, playing them for the national championship, they were the number one team in the nation that year. We were number two, right? They had a phenomenal team. So did we. And we lost that game by, I think, 6. There's one kid, he comes off the field. His name is Andrew LaFranchi. He's actually right now playing for Notre Dame. He was actually this year he captained as a sophomore.
Oh, wow.
Notre Dame's team. But anyway, he comes off the field and he is just like boo-hoo crying, right? Because, he's that type of kid that like, you always have that one kid or that one person's like, you can give them anything and they'll just do it. So like you can, he was that kid. And he was just like, coach, like I did everything. And it was like, man, that hit me hard.
Yeah.
And, I was like, you know what? So for me personally, I talked to him afterwards. And the thing I told him was that, like, look, there's just certain things that are within your control, and you did every single thing that you possibly could do in order for you to help your team, right? And it just didn't go your way. And sometimes this is how it is.
Yeah.
And so I try to mix in like maybe a little bit of like life lessons in with just the reality of sport. Because sport can be sort of like a vehicle in order to teach like life lessons.
Right.
And so, in that moment, and it sort of calmed him down a little bit because he realized he had another 2 years, right? Now, knowing that, so it was one thing for me that like I had to, we had this whole, control what you can control talk, but also what he did with that was the next thing. And what he did was that I'm just going to be just a sponge when it comes to this sport and just, when it comes to working out, everything, I'm going to make sure that that this does not happen again.
Right.
And then next year just completely dominated the team. He won back-to-back championships. And he was like an anchor on the team. And what was crazy, this same kid, right? So 1 year we lose. The next year, we're a dominant team. Dominant. And we were clearly the number one team in the nation. We won a couple games in a couple international games, right? Which doesn't happen for a USA high school rugby team. We're in the semifinals. We're winning by like 40, right? This other team, some bad play happens. This kid, he gets the ball. He's like running, clearly about to go for a try. My guy Andrew, he takes off. And again, mind you, it's in the second half now. We're up by 40. And he's like, nope. He just takes off. It was just like a lion after, not even a lion, a cheetah after a gazelle. And when I say it catches the kid, like the kid is running, he's like, he just knows he's going to get a try. He looks back, he's like, oh my God. Like, and then he just jumps on top of the kid. It's like, again, like a cheetah getting his prey. And again, we're up by 40. But again, it was one of those things, it was like it replayed that conversation that we had, the year before, was that like, control what you can control. It was like, oh, I see the kid right there. I know I can get him. Yeah. Right. And he got him. So it was like, it just played in his head. And again, it played for me in my head that, the fact that we had this conversation and that he did whatever he needed to do. He controlled all the variables that were in his control. And so I mean, again, as far as tough losses, that's the one things I kind of just like lean into, which is like, making a little bit of giving some insight when it comes to life. But then like, okay, well, what do we do next? Let's be very forward focused. Yeah. What's the next thing we can do?
Within your control.
Within your control.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting too, like Tony, for like, because you've worked so much with like physique competitors.
Right.
And I think about, we do talk jujitsu, Muay Thai, all this stuff translates to every sport because these are basic tenets, like principles that you have that work across everything, whether it's a sport or life, right? So like when I think of the young lady who's one of your clients now,
Jamie.
Yeah. Like I think about her first show, second show. So
right.
What was kind of like that real intentional?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, the life lessons part, but, especially being that majority of mine are female. So when they come off that hard loss, first it's kind of like,
Meaning like in a physique competition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they kind of come off and exactly. So I'm like, all right, got to let them have their emotions at first, right? So I'm kind of there and I'm just kind of like, all right, so right now I'm going to give you the option. We can either kind of process it now or, you can go home, feel what you're feeling, right? Think about it and we can get back on board tomorrow, right? Most of them go like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, well, I think it was, it was a tight, but I do think she might have like outclassed you in a couple things here, and that's what they might see. But I'm like, you got to remember, this is very subjective too. So the first thing we got to do is because the judges make notes on like, why such and such got placed higher. Like, so we got to get the results. You got to get the notes from the judges. Then we sit down and, compare. And then like, I'm like, so this is what I see. This is what the judges saw. Now I was like, what do you see? What do you think you gave your all in this prep? When you look at the pictures, can you feel like you should have won, or can you see there's a difference? And I kind of let them go through and like try to be like self-critiquing, not critical, but critiquing, right? And so then I'll take that. I'm like, so we're all on the same page. Hard loss, but I mean, she came in a little bit more dialed in than you, right? Yep. She's got a little more size than you. So let's take that to our off season, and we're gonna that one thing, whatever she beat you by, she was more conditioned. We're not changing anything else, but we're gonna work on the conditioning, right? She had a little more size, so our off season is just gonna be focused on getting a little bit more lean mass on you, and I try to move it out of the emotional realm and move it into an actionable realm with them.
Right.
So we set up a plan and go, because mine is not going to be like yours, like having a team or whatever, but it's just like, all right, what can you do differently? How can I program differently to make sure you get those results? And then let's set the plan in, and we go from there.
Yeah.
But again, them coming off physique, the first,
and they're also a mess too because of the food.
Right. So the first 2 to 3 hours is just helping them regulate those emotions, because especially with the young ladies, their hormones are off because they're so lean. So they're having that. They've been strict. They've just come off like their final, week of prep, which is extremely hard and debilitating. So it's that, and then the loss.
Yeah.
So helping them work through all those emotions within the first 2 to 3 hours so that we can come back to the board, calm and clear.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think too, like what I've always kind of come back to is the well, better, how. Like,
Yeah.
you need to create space, like, because it's all losses are emotional, wins are emotional, right? And everybody displays how they handle those things differently, right? So I think of like the two most recent fighters that I've had that I worked with. So like Antonio, he lost his first fight. He lost his first fight to a bigger kid who had a lot more experience, and he fought really well, but he took some shots, like, and he was just need a little time off. He's like, all right, I'm ready to come back at it. He came back at it, went after it, finished his next opponent in 38 seconds. And Antonio is a striker, and he submitted this kid. Like he didn't need much time. And then Amy, who fought probably did you see the fight?
No.
Yeah. It was probably it was like your typical Rocky fight. Like she ended up losing a decision, but had the whole crowd chanting her name.
Wow.
Like it was awesome.
Wow.
But she needed space and time, right? And because everybody handles it differently, So like Antonio, I called him the next day. Amy, I texted her, and I was like, "Hey, you okay? You doing all right?" Because it was such a powerful moment, right? And so much respect for both of them, but like the way you speak to people, like right afterward, that stuff matters.
Yeah.
So now I remember both communicating to both of them, like, I care about you. I love you. You helped me as much as I helped you. You probably helped me more as a person than whatever training I gave you. I think it's always important to communicate that support, whether it's through a life lesson or through like, hey, we just did this really hard thing together.
Right.
Like, I saw you in a very dark time when your eating was off and
Yeah.
your life was in chaos. But I'm here for you. But then you get right back to that drawing board of like identifying like what went well, what can you do better next time, and what's the plan? How are you going to move forward with that? So creating that space and then being actionable is really like the key, and also knowing it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like I remember like you just had your tournament a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time you were back on the mat since you got hurt before, and I had the fortune of being able to like be in your corner and talk to you afterward, but I also. Like I was really cognizant of like, I didn't want to say too much afterward. I wanted to give you space, and those things because that matters. Like, and I know you too, like when you lose at something, you don't want to talk.
Right. Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. I got my ass kicked twice by the same person. So.
He was an ass kicker though.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's important that what you just said is big. Is the fact that like you got to understand like how that person sort of processes, and you have to give them that space in order to process it. But it is like, okay, what are we going to do next?
Right.
Right.
And it could not be compete again.
It may not be compete again.
Yeah, and that's
it could be just hey.
Sorry, Alex. Alex is sitting over here with a box of tissues.
Wow.
It's like, fine, I won't.
BJ looked directly at it.
No, I look through your soul.
But no, I mean, it really does depend on like, who that person is, how that person sort of processes things. And, again, for certain people, if you give them like a small thing, like, hey, this is sort of a step into the direction that you're trying to go.
Yeah.
What doesn't matter, whatever it is, then that can kind of get them back going, because especially like when you're dealing with a team, you're dealing with, a competitor, like the outcome goal right there, that right there is huge, right?
Right.
But the foundation is set through the process. So if you can at least get them to think about like, all right, here's the process for the next time, then they can, think that outcome goal is a possibility because of the daily habits that you can sort of help them with.
Right.
Yeah.
I think also that's one of the things that separates like a good coach from a great coach. It's like you take his issue where if he loses,
What, be a loser?
well, not going to call him a loser, but he lost a fight, right?
Oh, we get it. All right.
But a lot of regular coaches will be like, all right, this is just how I deal with my athletes, right? But I think the relationships that we form, so you know that he doesn't want to be talked to, right? So you give him space. Other coaches who aren't as in touch and in tune with their athletes might be like, hey, let's sit there and let's talk about what you did wrong. You know, you did this, you did, instead of give him time to process it, right? Yeah. I think that's one of the things, like all of our athletes are doing the same thing, but have different mindsets.
Yeah, for sure.
So knowing each athlete's mindset and being able to approach them in a way that they hear instead of just however we want to, I think that creates a better situation for them to progress past that. Yeah. Because they're going to look, oh, well, you know, BJ knows what I need right now, so I'm gonna trust him even more.
Right.
I'm gonna listen to him because he has my best interest. Yep. It's not just, oh, you need to get back to the drawing board and work on this. They trust you more.
Right.
And having your athletes trust is huge.
It's everything.
So getting them to, you know, believe in your programming, you know, take your support, and even when they're feeling down and you're telling them, hey, we can come back, we can do better, we can win, whatever. Yeah. And that like in your corners, right?
Yep.
If they look at you and you're being honest and you're telling them we need to do this, and they trust you, they're going to go out and do it.
Right. Or at least the likelihood of them doing
it
will be higher, for sure. For sure.
Right. Picking off of that, how do you all handle like a stubborn athlete? Maybe someone who doesn't listen very well or gives you a lot of pushback on your coaching.
And is this someone that you have a good relationship with, or is this like a longer relationship with, or is this like someone who's new?
I mean, you could answer for both. I mean, I guess maybe long term. I think new would be a little different.
Yeah. So I think of like Samela. I hope you're listening to this. She was 13 years old when we started training. She was a thrower, and like she was super stubborn, and I learned a lot in that relationship, because ultimately, like, I became like a big brother, father figure to her, and it really challenged me to think about it. Come back to, this isn't about me. It's not about my system. It's not about the making sure I say the things I need to say. It's making sure I'm meeting the person where they were. And she would slam doors. Like, I remember her leaving the weight room, like slamming the door, and I give her grief about it to this day. She's like, I don't know, 35 years old, 36 years old. But like, I think it comes back to like really paying attention and not pushing your agenda because it's what you want. It's about really getting better at recognizing what they need in that moment. Because if they're stubborn, there's a reason, and it can be maybe a previous relationship they had with a coach, a relationship they've had with their parents, a relationship they have with themselves and about their own anxieties. So I think the better you can to suss out what the root cause of that, we'll call it stubbornness, is going to give you a better path to how you support that person. So really, like, I think of like a meaningful practice is like the 5 whys, right? Like unpacking, like, why is this person behaving this way? Like even asking, like, what's the barrier we're hitting right here? Why? And all of a sudden you realize, like, it's a deeper thing.
Yeah.
And then you can start to support that person better, right? And I think it's also careful, like, you're not a psychologist too, right? So like understanding, you know, what's within your ability, what's within your skill set, right? To be able to help that person.
Yeah, I think, and I kind of fall in between those because I spent several years as a mental health therapist for the county.
Right.
So right. I do fall into that, where if I have someone who's being really stubborn, a lot of times I'll kind of like just kind of watch and try to figure out, is it just one thing they're being stubborn on, or is it like the whole programming? And then sometimes I'll just, like, before a session or after a session, I'm like, hey, let's talk for a few minutes. And I just like, I need to know, why are you giving me so much pushback on, you know, whatever things I see? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, no, because we got to figure out why you're giving me this pushback, because the programming is to get us here. And for some reason you are refusing or, you know, denying that it works or whatever. And so get them to try to think about why, because they might have, a lot of times they might even like realize they're doing it. And like I have some that just refuse on the nutrition plans. Right. Well, a lot of times I know that's because of an eating disorder or something like that, or they come from a bad background where food was forced on them, something like that. So if I can get them to give me the why, then we can kind of work around it, and I can like, okay, well, I get that. So then let's just try to do this much of it and break it down into smaller units so that they don't feel so overwhelmed with it, or the programming, or like the strictness of a program. I'm like, okay, cool. So let's bring it down a notch. And I just want you for the next 2 weeks, just give me this much, so they can give me that and they don't feel overwhelmed, or they're like, you're going to make me do too many calories, so I'm not going to do it. Cool. Then just focus on getting me this much protein. I don't even care about the calories, just this. And so then just gradually build up. And I think that goes back into that, like, they feel you're listening to them and they're more likely to trust instead of just like, nope, I'm not doing that. So I kind of just slow it down for them.
Yeah. I think every once in a while, I really don't have kids that like push back too much on the program, on our program. But I will have a group of kids sometimes that will just kind of just like mess around, and I can see that they're messing around. One of the things I have to do is, sort of speak out to the whole group about what that can do for the whole group. Like your boy, he said, you train with lames, you wind up with a limp.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. So like when you have those kids who are kind of just messing around, not really doing what the group needs to get done at that time, then it takes a conversation, right? And what I try to do even before we get to those kids is have a conversation with the team captains.
Yes. Yep.
And the conversation with the team captains, like, hey, look, what do you guys want to get out of this year? Like, and my rule is I'm gonna give you 80% of the stuff that you need, 20% of the stuff that you want, right? And so what is your 20%? And so then now we have the captains who are, more than likely seniors or juniors. They're way more bought into the system now because they know they have 20%.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you have, the leadership, from, their, you have peer leadership. And then they sort of, can impress upon some of their teammates what needs to get done. So I kind of allow them to sort of do that, but may have a kid or two who aren't really like falling in line. Then I got to have a conversation with them, and like we talked about earlier, like luckily I'm at a private school because sometimes the conversations they can go, but it's fine. But then I will have those conversations like, okay, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes what I get out of some of the kids is the fact that they just want to be here with their friends,
Right.
And they're not like the best athletes, but they have, and that kid in a way can kind of serve. That kid does have a place on the team.
Yeah.
And that kid's place on the team is that like there may be other parts of the team that I'm not a part of.
Right.
But that kid is a part of.
That you don't even know about.
I don't
as a
even know
coach,
about.
because you don't know their relationships
Exactly.
that they have,
Exactly.
outside of that weight room or that field.
Exactly. And I'm like, I have to, and it's not, and that's another thing is that like you said it, it's not about me. I think once you start making it about you, then that's when things get thrown off.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, even when it comes to that kid, really, I say doesn't really want to be there, but he wants to be there with his friends.
Yeah.
So if he wants to be there with his friends, that's fine. Be there with your friends. But I just need me and you to be, kind of like lock eyes. Like if you're going to be here with your friends, fine. But these are things that we have to do. I'm fine with you being with your friends.
Yeah.
That's fine. But please, as we go forward, let's go forward in this way. Okay, coach.
Yeah.
But at least we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
And I think probably the theme of all of this is like having this accurate, communication with, whoever you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So that they can hear your side and, you can hear their side.
For sure.
Because sometimes like, we underestimate sometimes who like our, the cloud of us, because we can be like you're the subject matter, you're the SME, subject matter expert. And, for some people, some clients, whoever you're dealing with, they may just think like, okay, they said it, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
other people, they're not into it for that. They may have other motivations, right? So now it's incumbent upon you as the SME to okay, well now we got to have, you know, communication that we're both in line with, you know, what my goals are and what their goals are, so that we can so we can sort of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it comes out like jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai as a coach. Like that's something you need to really identify that's different with each one of the people that you coach, right? Like you have in the class, like you'll have the hobbyist, you'll have the not hobbyist, you'll have, I mean, we'll have a guy who competes, we'll have a person who used to compete, and everybody's in a different place. So like you need to know how to serve like each one of those people and meet them where they are with what they need, right?
Right.
And that's why, but in order to do that, like you have to have a relationship with people, right? You have to know your team, your population that you work with, and what their goals are, right? Like where they are. And I think a lot of coaches, especially that I've noticed like in the martial arts world, mixed martial arts world, is like they only know people's goals if someone articulates it to them. We don't ask enough questions.
Right.
Like we don't ask enough questions when we're teaching a skill, right? Like coaches are generally, everybody got it? Cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3, break.
Go.
No, like no. If you say everybody got it, no one's really going to say anything. You'll have
Right.
one person who says, can you show that again? But them saying show it again doesn't really solve the problem or answer the question. Right. Like, so I think that's one thing as coaches, we need to do a better job of is being able to say to somebody like a feedback loop, like, do you understand what we just did there? All right. Tell me what you understand. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you're going to learn what's in their head and then you can figure out how to adjust and adapt.
Also, what that does is it makes you a better coach because now
100%.
you have to communicate it a different way.
Right.
Because
Right.
because you said it this
Because not everybody's going to hear it the same way.
Right.
Exactly. Like, you know, you have different coaching cues. Like my coaching cue for somebody for a power clean could be, hey, it's a vertical jump. All right. Somebody else may not get that. Like, hey, jump in the air.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You're saying the same thing,
Right.
but
Or bring your hips to the bar.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Right.
yeah, it just you know, it just depends, and you got to be able to know that different people, they receive information differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of ties back to like the deadlift, right? How many different ways do people teach how to deadlift? And I'm sure you've heard like, you know, you just grab and hold the bar and you think about pushing the earth away. 90% of people cannot get that. They're like, what?
Right.
And they're like, basically, you the position you're in, you're just pushing the earth away and you're just going to stand up. And they can't grasp it, right? So then you got to figure out a different way.
Right.
How is this person going to hear me? How, you know, so now like, well, you know, an RDL with this, you know. So, but like one of the things I love go on this is like with, you hook it with Jose, right?
Jose's one of our striking coaches, Muay Thai coaches.
And goes back to like, you know, do you get it? Do you get it? And like, they're all just trying to teach one pattern, you know, do this front kick, do this side kick or whatever. And if you don't get it, you know, just keep practicing.
Yep.
What I like about Jose is he's one of those guys that we're talking about. He listens and he's like asked about my background and everything. And instead of just teaching one way, he's taken everything that I've learned in the past, my wrestling, my karate, and now the Muay Thai. And he's like mixing it up for me, not for to teach Marcus or to teach BJ the same stuff. It's strictly for me,
Right.
You know, and the fact that he hears that I don't want to just practice. I don't want to do 40 minutes of, you know, an overhand punch, you know,
Right.
break my shoulder. That everything mixes makes me trust him even that much more.
Yeah.
That he has my goals and needs in mind, not his agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, we are almost at 100 minutes, so I think
Nice.
we're going to end it here today. We'll give you guys an opportunity to plug anything you would like. Tony, if you want to go first.
Sure. For anybody looking for some personal training, I'm over here in Burke at Olympus Gym, and I'm also now at the Capital MMA Herndon location. We have a strength and fitness class out there where it's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:15 p.m. and Saturdays at 10. And there will also be limited personal training before or after those classes out there in Herndon. And there's personal training at Olympus in Burke, Monday through Friday.
What's your best contact?
Best
IG?
Yeah, best contact would be IG. It's focused_trainer.
We'll have all your links
Yeah.
in the description.
Okay. For me, so I'm no longer as much in the personal training space, but now more in the mental training space. So, like I said, I just got my degree in sports performance psychology, and so now I'm more of in a posture now of trying to help athletes on the other end, right? I have a good understanding of how to train people physically, but one of the things that it really lost is the mental side of the game. How do you bounce back from losses? What are the things that, motivate you, thinking about like flow state, all this kind of things. Like, so one of the things that I'm doing right now, again, is I'm initially starting off trying to take clients. So you can always hit me up. My IG, Chocolate City Coach. Chocolate City, if some of you people don't know, right?
Shame on you.
DC is more mocha now, but
It's a lot more mocha.
Were you one of the Chocolate Brothers? You used to be doing them.
So my kettlebell team was Chocolate City Kettlebell Team.
Okay.
Right. but Chocolate City Kettlebell Coach. I'm sorry, Chocolate City Coach. That's my IG. It's spelled just like that. But
Spell chocolate like chocolate.
talking like chocolate. Yep. Yeah. No funny way or whatever. Chocolate City Coach. Chocolate City Coach.
Mine is white chocolate underscore chubby guy.
All right, well, this has been another excellent episode of the Tap Often podcast. My name is Alex. Your name is...
It doesn't.
Who cares?